Well, hello, welcome back to Tail 3 Cabins. Well, decision's been made. I've picked out a UTV and I'm heading to go pick it up right now. So I appreciate everybody who responded with their opinions. There seemed to be a general consensus overall. Everybody had a lot of good input. So if you want to come check it out, see what I got, stick around. All right, so if you watched a couple episodes ago, I was looking for advice on getting a UTV. I pretty much had it narrowed down. I was hemming and hawing on a few different models here and there, but I had it narrowed down between a Kawasaki Mule and a Polaris Ranger. And they're both the entry models. The Ranger 570 midsize and the Kawasaki Mule side by side, just a two-seater each. One thing that intrigued me about the Kawasaki Mule was its ability to be carried around in the back of a pickup truck. But when I looked into it a little bit more, I have a 6.5 foot bed and you need a full size pickup. So you would need an 8 foot bed to actually do that. And then I had some requirements I needed. I needed to be able to get in the back part of my property. It's very hilly, very steep to get back there. Once you get back there, it flattens out. But my old ATVs sometimes would have issues trying to get up there. So I wanted to make sure I had full access to my property. Everybody gave me a lot of good opinions. I got a lot of good feedback. The Kawasaki Mule and the Polaris Ranger are both capable machines. They're both very similar engine size and features. And, well, I won't play around anymore. Here's what I got. So, yep, I went with the Polaris Ranger. Um, Three main reasons. Um, Reason number one, I mentioned I wanted to be able to get to the back part of my property, and the Ranger has all-wheel drive, which means all the wheels will spin. It's not like a four-wheel drive, like my old ATV had four-wheel drive, but technically only two of the wheels were spinning, one up front and one in the back. The Kawasaki Mule, you can lock the rear differential, but the front tire, only one will spin. Still, technically, the best you could do is three-wheel drive. I feel I'd be better off with all four wheels spinning trying to get up my hills. So that was one factor. Another factor was I had an overwhelming response that people that left me comments touted the Ranger more over the Kawasaki Mule. Nobody badmouthed the Mule. Maybe there's just more Ranger owners out there that are happy with the product. So that influenced me. And then price. Ranger and the Mule, they were very close on the price, but Polaris had a deal going on if you're a first responder or in the military, fireman, paramedic, police officer, that you could get 10% off of their UTVs. So I ended up getting $1,100 off of this, and that beat out the price of the Mule. Also, another factor was the Mule has a metal bed, steel, and this one, of course, is plastic. And I think for my purposes, the plastic is going to be better. I know the metal would get scratched up. I'm going to be throwing a lot of stuff back here, a lot of stuff going up and down for deer hunting. Just it's just going to be a workhorse for me, and I just know that that metal bed would get scratched up, start to rust, and I just like the idea of this bed a little bit better. So I'm just going entry model here. I just need it to be a little bit of a workhorse. I'm not going to do a lot of trail riding. I'm not going to be taking it on 30, 40-mile jaunts. Just a couple miles here and there a month, if that. A lot of times with my old ATVs, I used to have to take it on long back road rides just to run the gas out of it, just so I could swap out with some new gas. But other than that, it's going to stay on the property. I'm not going to drive like crazy. I'm not going to go through 2 feet of mud. Basically, I just need to go up some steep hills. When it rains, it's a little bit more precarious, and when it snows, even more than that. So that was my reasoning. And let me just go over a little bit about the new machine and what I'm going to add to it. I got the Pursuit camo. I thought that the dipping of the camo and then the clear coat on top last longer than like the standard colors. Like if you got the green, I had a green ATV a little while back from my Can-Am, and after a couple of years, it looked like, even though I didn't scratch it up or didn't not take care of it, it looked like somebody buffed it out. It got really dull. The finish got kind of crappy looking, and it just made it look like it was a much older ATV than it was. It seemed like the camo finishes hold up longer than the regular solid colors. You can ignore the windshield for now. This was actually something that I saw on Facebook Marketplace, and they weren't too far away from my house, and I picked it up for $10. And I plan on just using it maybe when I'm going through the woods. Sometimes in the summertime, you got all the cobwebs and spider webs stretched across all the paths, and also in the fall, if we're heading up on the hill and it's raining a little bit, I'm going to stick this on just for a little bit of protection. But it's something you definitely would not want to use if you're going down the road 20, 30 miles an hour, or if you're trailering this thing. So it's just on there temporarily. I tried it on to see how it fit, and it worked perfectly. So I thought it was a great investment for $10. Normally these things run somewhere around 59, 60. So I said this is pretty basic, and it is. I mean, if you look at it, you got your key, your ignition, the lights come on either with the ignition, or you can switch it so the lights aren't on. And then you've got your all-wheel drive switch. It's got a turf, which only one wheel spins. Then it's got to lock the rear differential, and then all-wheel drive. I got two accessory holes here for future switches. Comes with a small glove box, cup holders. They do sell aftermarket radios that you could fit in here if you wanted to put a speaker system on. There's all kinds of little cubbies and storage in here. Another cup holder on the side. So really basic. If you turn on the ignition, you can see the display here. It'll tell you what gear you're in. It's got a fuel gauge, hour meter. It's got a countdown meter. You can set it for, let's say 25 hours is the next time I need to change the oil. So you could set that meter to count down for 25 hours, and it'll tell you when you need to change your oil, and then reset it again. So very basic. Underneath the seat, they do sell aftermarket containers, so you could put a large container right here in the center for storage. Um, the fuse panel is right here, and that is right here. And the battery, I'm thinking about getting a little bit larger battery, something with a little bit more amperage, especially when you're using a winch and maybe some other aftermarket lights. Comes with cloth doors. Of course, you can buy doors from Polaris or aftermarket doors, hard doors, half doors, doors with windows. But for now, these will be all right. They do get pretty muddy after using them for a while. Hard to keep them clean. Underneath the hood is very basic and clean. I'm probably going to change out the headlights, put some LEDs in there just to lower the wattage as I add more accessories to it. If anybody knows, there is a open socket here, and I wonder if that's maybe for a diagnostic test. If you're having problems with the engine, anybody knows what that might be, I'd appreciate it. They could leave that in the comments. It has a little bus bar here for accessories. I've checked it with my multi-tester, and this gets power to it from the positive when I turn the key on. And then these don't have anything on it. So if I'm going to add some switches that have built-in lights to the switches, and I want them to only come on when the ignition is on, I'll probably have to run one wire over here. It's your antifreeze. That is like a voltage regulator. I've had them on my ATVs where they've gone bad. When it comes to maintenance, there's about 6 grease fittings on each side for each wheel that need to have grease. Each have a grease fitting in there. And then to dump the bed, it does have a gas shock to assist in the bed being lifted up. That is right there. Also, we got this up. This is where you would put your oil in it, your air filter. This is the drive belt. There's a drain plug in there in case you get into some high water. If you want to tilt this bed all the way up to a 90-degree angle, you could just pull out these pins and it'll move up without hitting anything. So not a lot to it. Pretty simple, pretty cut and dry. And I'll go over some of the stuff that I'm going to add to it. I ordered an aftermarket roof to add onto this. This is one of the first things that I want to add. And I think once I get the roof on, I can kind of tell how other things are going to fit. So cargo capacity of the bed is 500 pounds. Towing capacity of the UTV is 1,500 pounds. And this was comparable to the Mule. All right, so once I get the roof on, I'm going to start working on getting some lights on here. I want to put 2 of these in the back for reverse lights or work lights in the back so I can see the bed. And then I didn't want to go crazy. I seen light bars that stretch across the whole front end, 50 inches long. I'm just going to put a 20-inch on the front. The roof that I got actually has an indentation for it to kind of fit inside of it. So we'll see how that works out when the roof comes in. I got a couple rocker switches to control them, and I'm going to use those on the 2 blanks that they left on the dashboard. So those will have little lights behind them, and hopefully they'll fit in there okay. I also want to put some side mirrors on there. I was told that those will come in handy. Unfortunately, these here, I think I'm going to have to send them back as they're kind of made for a round, completely round roll bar. Mine is odd shaped because they can slide a windshield or doors on it. So I don't think these are going to work. I'm going to try it out one more time to see if there's any modifications, but it looks like I'm going to have to send those back. Lastly, I want to stick a winch in, and it's got the complete kit. Also has the mounting bar, and that switch will probably just go mounted on the dash somewhere on the left-hand side. There's plenty of room for a switch in there. I'll be adding a little ball to this so I can trailer some things around, maybe with a little hook combo on there. This should be simple enough to put on once the roof is on, but it just basically straps on the back. It's a little storage case, and if you want to put guns back here, machetes back here, other stuff you need for widening up trails or just going out for the day or hunting. So it should go on pretty easy. Wasn't too expensive. Got it for 50 bucks. I did have a couple comments about why don't you go larger, like start with an 800 or the 1000. And to me, this has got plenty enough pep to it. It'll go up to 50 miles an hour, a little bit, just a hair over 50 miles per hour, and that's plenty for what I'm going to need it for, even if I decide to take it on some of the back roads and go on a long jaunt. So I'm going to spend, a couple weeks adding this stuff, and once I get it added, sometime in September, I'm going to take it to Southern Ohio. I'm going to have to start working on the trails down there, widening them up. I'm going to give it a test to see if it's going to make up the Widowmaker. So I'm kind of excited about that. I'm kind of excited to be able to load this thing up and just go up to the top of the hill with one trip without making a bunch of mini trips or figuring different and odd and weird ways to strap stuff to my old ATV. Okay, so that's just a brief overview of the purchase of our new UTV. I'll maybe do a follow-up video once I get some of these accessories on there just to show you how it came out, what it looks like. Next week will be another tractor video. So thanks for watching. Hope you subscribe and keep an eye on us. Take care.